Welcome back for another Tyler Perry movie, but this one got the second best Destiny's Child member. Plus, there's tons of baby oil in this one. Mea and her husband Cal attends marriage counseling where they argue about Cal's so-called affair with his childhood friend, Jenna. Cal claims it isn't an affair, but Mea thinks otherwise since he was holding her hand at a cafe. Girl, he a lying, cheating ass for sure. Cal's phone rings and it's his mom. He tells the counselor that they have to leave early because it's his mom's birthday. But Mea insists on staying and finishing the session alone. Once Cal leaves, Mea tells the therapist that Cal is a mama's boy who basically eats her booty hole. At dinner, Mea arrives late, and Cal's mom, Azalea, makes a joke that Cal's future second wife will come on time. Mea isn't amused and greets her a happy birthday. Azalea introduces Jenna to Mea, joking around again saying that she wishes Jenna was her daughter-in-law. The gumption! Somebody better slap this white woman so hard she ends up back on the Mayflower. Azalea shows everyone their seats, and Jenna is sat next to Cal, while Mea is sat at the end with her sister-in-law, Charlize. Cal brings out a gift for his mom, and it's an expensive watch that he says it's from him and Mea. Mea looks at him confused, then gets angry when Azalea mentions to Jenna that the couple aren't on good terms. The fucking caucasity of this fugly hoe. The dinner comes to an end, and Mea mentions that there's a popular artist named Zaire at the restaurant, hence the paparazzi. Charlize's husband, Ray, mentions that she bought 2 paintings from Zaire, but he plans to sell them because he's involved in a murder case, and Ray's the one prosecuting it. It's giving P. Diddy. Azalea tells Jenna to give Cal a hug as she leaves. Mea is appalled at this, but Charlize gives her a hug to comfort her before leaving. On the ride home, the couple argue about the watch. Cal says he had to buy it because it's his mother. Then Mea asks how much it was. He confesses that he sold the piano since she stopped playing it years ago when Beyoncé disbanded their girl group. He doesn't want Mea to keep complaining because his mom has done so many things for him and Ray, and she's also dying. Cal reassures her that he's not interested in Jenna because she isn't Mea. So Jenna is the Michelle of the group. Mea is at work and is told that Zaire is at her office. She meets him at her office, and Zaire tells her that the police had raided his home again and damaged 2 commissioned artworks. He strongly declares that he wasn't the one that killed his girlfriend, Heidi, and asks if Mea can represent him in his case. Mea says she'll see what she can do, and Zaire thanks her. Cal checks up on Mea as she's working and sees Zaire's file. He firmly tells her that she can't represent him as he doesn't want to see his wife defending a murderer on the news. Mea slams their bills on the table and asks Cal which one he'll help with since he hasn't had work the past 8 months, and they've been dishing out medical bills for his mom. Oh, Cal a broke ass and still bought his mama a watch? Mea mentions that if Cal didn't arrive at work high off anesthesia, they wouldn't be in their current situation. She says Zaire's case will pay their bills. The next day, she meets up with Zaire at his place. Trevante Rhodes really went from starring in an Oscar-winning film to a Tyler Perry film. Mea tries to get more details from him, then shows him pictures of the crime scene. She also shows him a video of Heidi panicking, saying, "The Temu 50 Cent going to kill me." Zaire says it isn't real and doesn't know why she recorded it. They come to an agreement that they'll be truthful to each other throughout the case if he wants Mea to represent him. Mea returns home and sees Iggy Azalea and the brothers waiting for her. They have an impromptu dinner together, and Ray confronts Mea about representing Zaire, but Azalea immediately says Mea can't since Ray's prosecuting the case and plans to put him in jail to further his political career. Why don't broke-ass Cal explain to them why Mea has to take the case? Mea's back at work and on the phone with Charlize. She says that Cal called Ray to tell him that Mea's repping Zaire, causing Ray and Azalea to get angry, and she apologizes for it. Later, Mea meets up with Jimmy, a private investigator. They catch up and Jimmy tells her that he'll do everything he can to help Mea in the case. That night, Mea and Jimmy visit Zaire to ask him some questions. They interrogate him about Heidi and his previous girlfriend, trying to look for signs of abusive behavior. Zaire mentions that Heidi was into Rihanna's S&M style stuff. Jimmy has to leave for his flight to Mexico to seek more information about Heidi. Mea follows after him and asks what he thinks of Zaire, according to his body language. Jimmy is sure that Zaire is lying, and Mea feels the same way. She returns inside and finds Zaire smoking on the balcony. He tells her that he was never a womanizer and prefers to see pleasure on his woman's face, not pain, so he doesn't know why his ex lied. He clarifies that she wasn't even his ex, just a fling. Mea tells him not to worry because Jimmy will try his best to get more information. Jimmy calls Mea from Mexico. He tells her that there's no birth record of a Heidi in Mexico and can't find her family either. He also mentions that there's someone named Renee that has a lot to say and will be meeting up with her when he returns. Mia is back at Zaire's place, and she asks him about Renee. Zaire admits that he slept with her before. He tells her all about Renee, but she's distracted, staring at his lips and neck. "We can't lie," Zaire Kinafoin. Zaire talks about how controlling Renee was, then asks Mia if she can relate to him. Mia empathizes with him and tells him a bit about her troubled marriage. Zaire makes her sit in front of the canvas and close her eyes. They paint together, but Mia says it's enough and she'll miss the train. On the way back home, Mia can't stop thinking about her time with Zaire earlier. She rides Cal when she's home, but looks dissatisfied with the eggplant. At work, Cal visits Mia with a bouquet and asks her out to dinner tonight. She accepts, then Zaire approaches her from behind and introduces himself to Cal. However, Cal doesn't care to shake his hands. Cal leaves then. Zaire insists on meeting at his loft since the paparazzi are following him. He leaves and gives Mia no choice. She arrives a day late at his place. Zaire is up front and tells her that he finds her attractive and his eggplant grows whenever he sees her. Mia doesn't show any emotion, then takes out a tablet. She looked like she's ready to send text via Excel, but she reads aloud news headlines about rumors of his murder case. Zaire says he can't trust her since she won't admit that she's attracted to him and talks about getting a new lawyer. Mia denies being attracted to him and says she's just there to help. Zaire grabs his coat ready to leave, and Mia decides to follow him. Eventually, they're in a room where people are doing extracurricular activities. She opens the curtain to see a club with beds and people wetting each other's poles and eating donuts. A random man asks her if she wants to do the nasty, so this is when she nopes the fuck out of there. She returns home to see Cal playing video games on a call with Jenna. He doesn't hear her, and she's so over it. Honestly, same girl, same. Mia visits Zaire once again, and he apologizes to her. Mia clarifies that she was just setting boundaries between the two of them, and he asks why she needs to. He kisses her neck, then Mia tells him to follow up with her if he still wants her to represent him. A woman goes up the stairs naked and walks off with Zaire. Mia sees her kneel in front of him to eat a popsicle, then leaves as Zaire watches her. She gets into her car and gets a call from Jimmy. He delivers bad news about Cal, sending her a picture of him and Jenna entering a hotel room at the Winston. Mia's in disbelief but gets an idea. She re-enters Zaire's loft and walks up to him as the woman rides him like a bull. He signals her to get off, and the two make out. Mia tells him to stop, then they grab their coats and leave to go on a night ride. They come back and make out some more, getting undressed and pouring colorful baby oil all over each other. They burn calories on the floor, all covered in paint, then fall asleep. Mia wakes up in bed with a painted portrait of her on the ceiling. Zaire gives her a bath to get all the paint off, and they talk about what it would have been like if they'd met earlier. "Girl, you'd probably be diddlered." Mia arrives at her office where Cal and Charlize are waiting for her. They ask where she's been and why she didn't get home. Mia explains that she worked late and got a hotel. Cal gets angry that she didn't update him, but Charlize tells him to calm down and go back to the Winston, the hotel that Jimmy mentioned. Mia asks about it, and Charlize says that Azalea was moved to the Winston so she can be closer to the hospital since she's feeling worse. Mia asks what room, and she tells her the same room number that Jimmy said. Charlize leaves, and Cal stays to talk with Mia, who's disappointed and angry at her. Mia apologizes, but it doesn't do much. She meets up with Jimmy and tells him about what she'd done. He comforts her, and Mia starts crying, saying she can't rep Zaire, but needs the money badly. Jimmy gives her a pep talk and tells her to keep trying and keep her head up. Mia visits the art gallery to talk to Renee. Renee tells her that Zaire used her and left when he was done with her. She tells him a story of when Zaire sat her down to paint, similar to what he had Mia do. Renee shares that when she woke up in his bed, the painting of her face was up on the ceiling. She adds that there are many canvases, many layers on that ceiling. Mia leaves the gallery anxious and scared. She heads to Zaire's place and goes directly for the painting on top of his bed. She peels off her painting only to reveal another woman's face behind it. She keeps peeling off the paintings as Zaire talks about how he's been feeling. He notices that Mia is not responding, then looks up to find her peeling the paintings. He rushes upstairs to explain himself, just in time for Mia to find the painting of Heidi with a message painted in red. "Die, you ruined my life." Zaire says it's because of the video, but Mia doesn't buy it and tells him she's done. Cue Kelly Rowland's Dirty Laundry song. Mia and Cal arrive at Ray's home where he, Charlize, and Azalea are waiting for them. There's tension in the air as Ray calls Cal over to whisper something in his ear. He looks at Mia in disbelief, and she tells him that she has something to tell him in private. Azalea refuses it and says that she can tell it to all of them. Mia tries to call Cal, but Ray doesn't let her. Azalea says that Cal works overtime to provide for them, and all she does is buy expensive suits. "Bitch, please." Cal done lost his job. Mea needs to stop being demure and mindful. Ray tells her to be honest, causing Mea to scoff about honesty. Cal confesses that he lost his job and is in rehab, but Azalea blames it on Mea for pressuring him, saying that she doesn't deserve him. I'm about to slap this heifer. Ray mentions that he got a call saying Mea's off the case due to her inappropriate relationship with her client. Cal presses her on where she was that night, and she reveals that she slept with Zaire. This causes Cal to break down and throw things, and Azalea yells at her to leave.
To the left, everything you own.
Oh, sorry, wrong reference. Mea's at the beach watching the news about Zaire when she gets a call from Jimmy. She tells him that she needed to get away and clear her head. She goes on a jog, and when she's done, she bumps into a familiar face. The woman asks her what she needs, and Mea calls her Heidi. Her face drops, and she pretends she can't understand English. She runs away, and Mea chases after her. She tells Heidi that she's coming with her to the police, but Heidi sprays and steals Nokia's sidekick, dropping the card on her and running off. Mea comes out of the police station with a new phone to call Charlize so she can talk to Ray. She tells Ray that Zaire's innocent since Heidi's alive working at a resort. Ray tells her to come home and he'll have someone investigate it. Mea arrives at their place as Ray and Azalea are waiting for them. Mea gets a phone call from Jimmy and he tells her to check her email. She gasps because she doesn't know how to use Excel, then notices a red room where there's similar paintings. She exits and Azalea approaches her for help, causing Mea to drop her phone, and Azalea breaks it with her knee. This heifer thinks she's slick. She helps Azalea sit at the table and Ray hands her a drink. She doesn't drink it and tells Ray to read his email. Mea finds out that Azalea doesn't actually have cancer, and they just did it so Ray can get sympathy votes for mayor. Azalea raises her glass to toast Charlize for sleeping with Zaire, and Ray brings out a painting of her done by him. Mea realizes that Ray set Zaire up by hiring Heidi since Charlize slept with Zaire. Azalea gets mad that both of her daughter-in-laws slept with the same man. Mea tells Charlize to get the kids so they can leave. Azalea tells Charlize to stab Mea, and she grabs the knife to swing at Ray. He blocks her and punches her, then Azalea grabs the knife to go for Mea. They have a violent family bonding time in the kitchen, and Mea makes a run for it, while Charlize is impaled by her mother-in-law. Mea gets in the car to drive off, leaving Ray behind and Azalea dangling on the trunk. She crashes the car to get her off, but it no longer turns on. Mea runs to call for help, and she sees Cal driving. She gets in the car and Cal calls the police. Cal drives in the direction of the house and gets a phone call from 911. Mea is confused why they're calling him, so she turns on the Bluetooth in the car and finds out that Ray is telling him to bring her back. She's in disbelief and Cal punches her after she said that she slept with Zaire because he's got money and success, unlike broke-ass Cal. Mea sees a truck in front of them, so she unbuckles his seatbelt and grabs the wheel to crash his side of the car into the truck. Cal goes flying, and Mea looks at his still body from the passenger seat. Ray is arrested while a news reporter explains what happened. Zaire is released as a free man and tells the paparazzi that he thanks Mea for what she's done. Mea checks her phone and sees a text from Zaire thanking her and asking to meet up. She throws her phone away and walks off. Dang, what a dramatic ending that culminated into a what the fuck moment several times over. I'm glad Miss Kelly Rowland out here doing her own thing though. She don't need no man. She finally found her destiny. Child, what did y'all think of this one?
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.